Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Side Talk Show. I'm your host, Cole Hillman, accompanied by my co-hosts, Cameron Reisel and Demetrius Simeon. Today we have two very special guests, Mr. Billy Auger and Mr. Stephen Tully. Mr. Auger, how about you introduce yourself a little?
Thank you, Cole. My name is Billy Auger. I work at ClearPath for Veterans as a case manager. And before that, I've done a few things in between, but I was a Marine for 4 years from 2002 into 2006.
And out of the way, thank you very much for your service. We do, all of us here appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
But as you were saying?
Yeah, so, the big highlights that, we're going to talk about are my time in the service and, what I've been doing at ClearPath for Veterans, helping veterans in a lot of different ways.
Good to know. Very nice. And Mr. Tully, how about you introduce yourself a little?
Thank you, Cole. It's a pleasure to be here today and appreciate APAC for having the program here today and the podcast. So my name is Steve Tully. I've been here since 1997, been teaching since 1991. I'm a science teacher. I do chemistry, all the physical sciences, except for physics, but I do chemistry, meteorology, astronomy, started the engineering program from scratch in 1999, and I switched into chemistry full-time in 2024. So I've been doing a lot of work with that, and I also do the leadership education program here as well through the Army National Guard.
Speaking about the leadership education program, how about you tell us a little bit more about that, Mr. Tully?
All right. Well, it's all started in the fall of 2004. Sergeant Matthew Meadows was the recruiter for the program. We wanted to make a non-recruiting program for students to be involved with. If they chose to go into the military afterwards, that's great. If they don't, that's okay too. But it would teach them the core values. All the military services, like Mr. Auger was saying, thank you for your service too, Mr. Auger. And the Marines, they have their core values. The Army has their core values. Navy has theirs, and so on. Other branches, but the Army one has the acronym of leadership, loyalty, duty, respect, self-service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. So LDRSHIP. So all of our programs that we do with the students would emulate those core values and implement them. Because having a tapestry or a sheet on a wall is one thing, but actually going to follow them is quite another. It's not easy. And you have to be consistent and be able to pay attention to detail. So whether it's doing our veterans program that we have every year in November, this will be the 28th year that's coming up right now in November of 2026, or it's our coat drive that we did with Mr. Auger with his help from ClearPath, or it's
So you two have worked in the past before?
Yes, or it's the Easter egg hunt that we just did this past weekend with students. And marching in the parades. Any of those 4 events that we have, one each term of the school year, all incorporates those core values. So we started that program back in 2004. It was a class at one time, and now it's an after-school activity.
Very nice, very nice. Well, very well accomplished. In that, we are going to continue on to Mr. Auger and take a little bit of delve into what veterans are like. What is life like after the fighting? Or your time in the service. Take us away, Mr. Auger.
So there's a lot involved. So
of course, yeah.
So I
we
have
can break
to.
it up.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try and my mind works a little differently, and I'll just kind of, as I think of things, I'll throw them out there.
Of course, yeah.
So,
I would feel the same way.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think the most profound thing that veterans deal with when they get out of the service is a lack of what's the word I'm looking for? So they lack that family. They lack that structure and support system that they had while they were in the service.
Yeah.
So you go from always having, a platoon would be 40 people. So you always had 40 people around you that you could count on. Or you get down to a fire team where when you're on deployment, you spend 24 hours a day for 8 months or longer with those 4 people. You do not get out of their sight. So a fire team would be in my situation. I was a mortarman, so a fire team was 3 people. It was you had the gunner, you had the ammo man, you had the A gunner,
Mhm.
and different weapons, different
Yeah.
MOSs would be your job specialty. Might have a different number,
Mhm.
but it's that core.
Yeah.
At its base, that is what makes up the military.
Yeah.
And so to go from having that support system 24 hours a day
Yeah.
to getting out, some veterans, they might get home and not have any support system waiting for them. It's a huge shock to your system.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For me, when I got back, I did have a great support system, but the shock was, what was my purpose?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I didn't have when I was in the Marines, I was a mortarman or I was a squad leader, platoon sergeant,
Mhm.
whatever. When I got out, it was, what am I now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different.
What am I going to do? How do I identify myself?
Yeah, of
So
course,
that was challenging.
And even in the smallest schedules with myself, I am all out of sorts if it doesn't go the right way. So I can't.
I mean,
Breaking all of that. Wow.
the way that I can compare it to someone in high school, and,
Mhm.
college and stuff like that, is if you are a football player and you decide to hang up your cleats
Mm.
after your senior year,
Mhm.
well, now you're no longer a football player. So how do you identify?
How
How
to
do you
hang up on
transition?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
Yep.
you need to find, one of the things that we do at ClearPath is help veterans find purpose, find that,
Mhm.
For me, it wasn't there when I got out. There was no ClearPath. It was,
Yeah.
I did find other groups that helped me out, that pointed me in the right direction. But it can be difficult
Yeah.
for veterans to find us or
Mhm.
to stumble into these groups. And I think we do a pretty good job of getting out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's what you do
Yeah.
with other veterans when they come back.
Yeah, we try to reach out. We do a lot with the National Guard and
Mhm.
the reserves. We try to get there when they get back from deployment and stuff
Mhm.
like that, so that we can help inform the veterans,
Yeah.
or they might not be veterans yet, but the service members. Hey, there are things out there. There are
Yeah.
support systems out
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, lo and behold, everyone can think about it, but no one really knows until they've been there. Is PTSD, is coming home with PTSD, and could you take us a little bit through that, or how you can combat PTSD, because it's such a fragile, how to deal with it. It's very fragile.
Sure. So I've dealt extensively with PTSD, with traumatic brain injury. So the dangerous part about PTSD, I shouldn't say, I don't know if dangerous is the right word, but what is challenging with one of the challenges with PTSD is it's a lot like concussions, where if you get one, you're susceptible to another. If you get, the more you get, the more it
Yeah.
compounds.
more.
And so I started, I had my first traumatic incidents when I was a kid, and then went into the service and experienced more things, more violence, more, whatever.
Yeah.
And so my brain was already prepped for this negative situation.
Yeah.
And then, I saw people get shot. I've seen civilians get shot. I was in a 7-ton truck that rolled over, and that's where I got my traumatic brain injury. And so I had all these experiences which compounded. And when I got out of the service, I had the regular symptoms would be nausea, the migraines, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I just pushed through that. I did go to the VA, and I did
Oh, yeah.
get the medications and all
Mhm.
that. There's other symptoms that people don't take into account, or that they, subtle things that do affect you. It's going to affect your sleep. So I used to drive an oil truck for Concord Oil, and then I was forced to retire because I had double vision.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
The migraines got so bad because
Yeah.
it's a stressful job. You're always looking out for
Mm-hmm.
other drivers, kids, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
the noise.
Yeah.
It got so bad that I was seeing double, and they told me that was because of the migraines. So I was forced to stop working there. There was a point where I was working for Littleton Light Department for 2 years, and that was a great job, but I would have memory lapses. So
Mhm.
I would be working on a particular job, and then I couldn't remember the last 2 hours. So I,
Wow.
again, felt like this probably isn't a safe
Yeah.
Yeah.
field for me to be in
Yeah.
because I don't want to put other people at risk if I forget to do something. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I got out of that. As far as treatment goes, I have had success. I've had some successes. I've had some things that weren't successful. And it's, when you're dealing with the brain, there's no like, hey, this is going to work or this
Yeah.
isn't going to work.
Yeah. How did you fight that
So,
mental battle with you?
Yeah,
Just yourself, I
I've
mean.
I've tried different medications.
Yeah.
Like I said, the migraines. Okay,
Yeah. The
you
physical
know, you
aspect
take
to it, yeah.
ibuprofen and something like that. What I have found to be successful was I went to this gentleman who he has a program called the NeuroFit program.
Mhm.
So what he does is he puts your brain through stressful situations
Mhm.
in a safe environment.
Oh, I see.
And basically it's like exercise for your brain.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you put yourself through, in about an hour, it would be like 2,000 micro stressful
Wow.
situations, and it might be a case where he puts a metronome on and you try to hit it when it's making the sound,
Yeah.
and you're either off one way or you're off the other. And what it is your brain thinks it's hitting at a certain time, but in reality you're not.
Mhm.
And training your brain that you're wrong, it has to be this
That you're
time,
wrong,
is an
yeah.
exercise,
Mhm.
but it's stressful at the same time.
Yeah.
Will
of
it help
course.
you over time?
It did, yes. It helped me a lot. So
Good.
I actually had a session earlier today. We're kind of advancing the program a little bit to deal with some other issues
Mhm.
that
Oh
I
wow!
have.
So you're still doing it? After
I
all
am,
this time?
yes.
Oh, that's good.
okay.
That's good.
Now, in the beginning, what I was dealing with at the time, what was the most profound challenge that I was having was if I went through the day, things that were stressful kind of compounded, and
Mm.
if it got to a certain point, it would be like watching a TV screen that's just snow. And I remember the tipping point was having a bad day, having a lot going on, and my wife asked me what I wanted for dinner.
And that's just the cherry on
And-
top, right?
And that was it. I couldn't process what was going on. It was just basically there was just snow in my
Yeah.
my mind, and I said I need to make a change. I need to do something. So I reached out to this individual, and he helped me out. And after that, I reduced those symptoms
Yeah.
about 99%.
Great.
Okay.
I haven't had an episode like that. It took me about 2 years to start to have another episode like that, and that's why I'm back refreshing that,
Yeah.
and it's going
Oh,
well.
great.
So-
Yeah. Of course. Did you ever have any of the violent side at all?
So, it does. It can lead to a temper.
Yeah. I think not to cut you off. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like a lot of PTSD is portrayed in movies, which is violence or anything like that. But obviously, that's
Mm-hmm.
not all of it. But continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and part of that violent reaction is the inability to process what's going on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're dealing with the situation, and instead of your brain saying, well, this is how you can get away, this is how you can get out of it, this is how you can de-escalate, it goes back to the your most natural instinct is,
Your most primal instinct.
yeah,
Exactly.
well, I'm just going to get angry, I'm just going to get violent.
Put a lion in a cage, you know.
Yeah,
There you
and
go.
it, you know, and I'm still not 100% over those feelings. I, you know, I can control my anger and I can control the violence. If I couldn't, I probably wouldn't be here right now. But you know, I went on vacation last week, and I remember sitting by the pool, and it was crowded and it was loud, and there's definitely that instinct to say, I need to get out of here. This is too much.
Yeah.
You know, it's that stimulus
All those loud
that
noises.
that triggers things.
Mhm.
And you know, so it never fully goes away. I'm still processing all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an ongoing, you know, I don't like to look at it like I'm suffering from PTSD. It's kind of like I'm
It's gotten better.
working
Living
through
it.
it. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
living it.
Living it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's great to hear.
Do you want to talk about like your first where you got deployed and your time in the service?
Sure.
I have one question before we switch topics. That's all.
Mhm.
Just about ClearPath. I was wondering when ClearPath was founded, and another thing was it a sort of tool for you to use to help yourself? I find a lot when I help kids with special needs that brings me, you know, the ultimate joy. That I don't do it because I want to feel joy. I do it because it just gives me joy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in a way, helping other veterans, did that help heal you, or further your battle or your trying to extinction with PTSD?
So I do have to clarify that it's ClearPath for Veterans New England.
Please, yes.
Only because there is a New York branch.
Oh, okay.
As well. Well, your first question was when we were established, and I
Yes.
should know better, but it was around 2018.
I hear you. Okay.
Incredible story. They started off in a trailer on Devon,
Really?
you know, off the base at Devon's, working out of a trailer
Mhm.
with the dream of, hey, we're going to take over this building eventually when we come up with the funds and all that and the power. And eventually it ended up happening, and they took over the building, and now, you know, it's now we just keep looking toward the future and grow, you know,
Yeah.
continuing to grow. And I went in there in 2019, 2020,
Mhm.
to talk to them about the canine program that they had up and running. And at the time, I had no idea what ClearPath was.
Yeah.
I went in there, and you know, I met a gentleman named Nick, and he was running the program at the time, and he told me all the other things that they had going on. They had a gym, they had, you know, yoga, tai chi, all these different things, and he said, feel free to come in anytime. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So I started going and visiting and just using the gym, and there was a gentleman working the desk, and he told me about that NeuroFit program and said, you know, you should try this out.
Look at that.
And it was, I found it interesting because there's a lot of nonprofits that just hit one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I went in, they started telling me about all these different programs. I thought, wow, this is amazing. And before that, I did go to school for human services, and I had volunteered at the VA for about a year. Before that, doing outreach, and I knew that I wanted to work with veterans.
Yeah.
And I wanted to help veterans, and I wasn't sure how. And then, you know, when I walked into ClearPath, it's one of the one of the most powerful tools that you can get is not so much are you qualified for the job. It's like, what is your why? Why are you doing? You know,
Yeah.
why are you going for the job? And
In a way, you were giving yourself another purpose.
yeah, and I enjoy being around veterans.
Yeah.
I enjoy helping veterans. Now, you mentioned if it's helped me out personally. So when I started working at ClearPath, they made an exception for me because of the migraines, because of the double vision, all that stuff. They said, why don't you come in part-time, and we'll see how it works. We'll see if
Yeah.
you can handle it,
Mhm.
And I came on as a peer support specialist. What that is I get paid to talk to veterans.
Mhm.
And that was good for me because I enjoy talking. I'm a social
Yeah.
person. What was challenging for me was we serve about 200 meals every Thursday
Oh, jeez.
to
Okay.
veterans for life.
Mhm.
We, so from 11 to 1 on Thursday, the building is
Packed.
alive. Yeah. And they said, you're going to have to speak to veterans. You're going to, we need you to walk around and talk to veterans. Okay, sounds fine. I'm good at doing that, but I'm not. At the time, I couldn't imagine being in a room with 200 veterans.
Yeah.
Now, at the beginning, I probably lasted about 5 minutes. And then I had to go out because I was having a panic attack.
Mhm.
My manager at the time, my coworkers, they were sympathetic. All of them were veterans. Most of the people that work over there are veterans, so they understand. And they allowed me to go back to the room and talk about what was going on, what I was going through. And like I said, week 1, 5 minutes, week 2, 10 minutes, and it just kept going like that. And then, after about a year, I could spend 2 hours in that room with the other veterans. And it's not just, it's the first thing is pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. So push myself outside for 5 minutes, then 10, and it kept building up.
Yeah.
Builds that immunity, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
to that. Now, the other thing is I started to build a bond with the veterans. And it was like, not exactly like being back in the service, but it was like, okay, I know I can go to this veteran and talk to them about certain
Yeah.
things and
Exactly. You're back in your kind of community, or people that have
Yeah.
been through stuff like you, of course.
Yeah, and that was great for building my confidence, building my
Yeah.
just feeling like I had people I could rely on.
Mhm.
That, and not even the employees. Like I said, the veterans.
Yeah.
It was just as effective, I guess, at helping me. Now, it wasn't all great. It still isn't all great.
And that's really what we're trying to dig here. It's
Yeah.
not all sunshine and rainbows. Far from it.
No, I still do the peer support thing, and sometimes peer support is a broad paintbrush, I guess. So I might have a veteran come in and say, "Hey, I want to talk once a month just to find out what other things are going on with veterans that I can go hang out with." There have been times in the past where I've had a veteran I've had to call every single day because he feels isolated, or he or she might need that emotional support.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the most rewarding job, but it can be the most draining.
Yeah.
Because you're absorbing that challenge that the veteran is going through. And we've had our share of we've had veterans come in, and they are having the greatest time of their life. We've had other veterans that come in that are in their worst time of their life, and being able to help them in their worst time is what I do this for. And
Thank you for it. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And I can say I've helped out quite a few. We've helped out quite a few. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that just loops right back and comes back to where you were saying that purpose. I mean, you're still helping. I mean, technically, you're still helping your country, your fellow servicemen, and so on and so forth through ClearPath. So you never really stopped helping when you really think about it like that. I feel like. So.
Yeah. No. I was extremely lucky to be able to get in there. When I did. And it is I love ClearPath for New England and their model because, you know, the VA is great, but they can be rigid and they can lead the conversation. And we at ClearPath, it's more about, you know, peer. The whole meaning of the word is equal. You're on your equal
Yeah.
with somebody. So we don't really lead the conversation with the veterans. It's more like, hey, I'm here with you. We're going through this together. What do you want to talk about? You know, what's on your mind? And, you know, and now that I'm a case manager, it's a little different, you know. We have other peers as well. And I do, you know, I still have some peers. So as a case manager, I don't work with my peers. So if I have a peer that I'm working with and I'm talking them through something, I don't work the same case if they need help with housing or something like that. I try to give that to somebody else
Yeah.
so that we're still on that equal playing field.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
once you branch into I'm the one who can provide this to you, it changes the whole dynamic.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I like that concept.
Yeah, we've done a really good job of maintaining that.
So what you're saying is there needs to be more clear paths, huh?
I'm not saying that, but I think maybe there should be.
It would be a good idea. It would be a good idea.
Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
I mean, like you said, a lot of the charities, and God bless them, whatever they can do, but a lot of them are focused on one thing, like you said, like feed the veterans or help them get, or separately help them get, you know, their appendages back and stuff like that, which all of it, amen, and, you know, bless them for doing it. But like you said, it's all kind of centralized. With ClearPath and what the understanding that I've gotten, that Mr. Auger here has given me, is that, well, I'll say it, that we need more ClearPaths, ClearPaths New England. You know what I mean?
He's focused more on the individual rather than the masses, and I think that's like a very
Exactly.
impactful
Yes.
Exactly.
thing
Exactly.
that a lot of veterans need.
Mm-hmm. And moving on a little bit, and then I'm going to let my co-host here, Cam, take Mr. Auger away for a couple questions. Mr. Tully, I want you to tell us, how has helping veterans impacted your life? How did you start? Where's your passion coming from? I remember you telling me that your father has served and did serve for a long time. Served in some of the worst battles that we had.
My father was in Battle of the Bulge in World War II.
Wow.
I was in 3 major campaigns, Ramlin Campaign, Battle of the Bulge, and the Battle for Central Europe.
Jeez.
And
So you're starting off real strong there,
Yeah.
Mr. Tully. That's crazy.
So he instilled in me, right away at the very beginning of my life, the need to respect veterans and to honor them, like Mr. Auger. You know, at a moment's notice, they go to serve without even asking a question about it.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, we got to give them the utmost respect and honor about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I do the program that I do.
Mhm.
I want the students to have that same sense or be exposed to that knowledge, because you don't see that in the history books. My
Mhm.
father would say all the time. He was in this 78th Lightning Division, and I was attached to the 3rd Armored Division.
Mhm.
So he was in the 503rd Field Artillery that was attached to the 78th Lightning Division.
Okay.
And that was right in the smack of the middle of the Battle of the Bulge.
Interesting.
So he and others in the town of Franklin, they built the VFW post. I was just telling that to Mr. Auger today, that they started at the Veterans Post 3402, the VFW Post 3402 in Franklin, Mass, on Pond Street. So I've been around veterans ever since I was a kid, and I loved being with them and talking to them and gaining information from them and knowledge about that. And I think that is helpful to me because it gives me pride in what they do and what we should do as a country to honor our
Yeah, of
veterans.
course. I got one more question before Mr. Auger takes it away. How did you change the program over the years, and why did you need to make those changes?
Okay, so when we first started the program in 2004, it was a classroom piece. So it was a class that it was an elective that the school didn't have to pay for. Sergeant Meadows came and taught the course. He used my room, so that way it didn't impact any of the teachers. So it was done during my prep time. So he used my room. And then through mobilizations and deployments, like Mr. Auger was saying, that they get deployed and mobilized. Mobilized is usually stateside, and deployed they go overseas. He was brought into different parts of the state, and so we had to change it up a little bit because we didn't have the personnel to be able to do our program with us. So it became an after-school program, and that's where we are right now.
Okay.
For how long now? How many years?
So we started in 2004, the
Mhm.
fall of 2004,
Oh, wow.
and it was a program. It was a class that we had, and then it was a half-year course, and I went to the second half of the year was another class that we had, and then shortly after that, about maybe 3 years of being a class, it turned to an after-school program.
I see. And Mr. Tully, I have one more question before Cameron and Mr. Archer take it away. Have you served at all yourself? And then there's a follow-up question to this.
Sure, I have not
You have not.
served in the
But-
military, but
But this man right here has dedicated hours, days, weeks, months, maybe even years to veterans right here. You don't need to just serve to help. This is honestly what this podcast is trying to do here. We're trying to promote how you can help veterans in any case, way, shape, or form. And Mr. Tully here is an amazing embodiment of what you can do without serving. So, I'm sorry.
No,
As you were.
no, thank you, Cole. I appreciate you for saying that. One of the things that the veterans say, the first thing is they say thank you every year that they come here for the breakfast and for our program that we do. We do 3 parts. We do the breakfast, as you know, the classroom piece for those teachers that want the
Exactly.
veterans in their
Yeah.
classroom, and then we do the all-school assembly. The first thing that they say is thank you very much for honoring us and for inviting us here today. And you can hear a pin drop in the auditorium because the kids have the respect because they see the value of the program
Mm-hmm.
and they see the value of valuing the veterans.
I think that's why a lot of people respect you because they see your sacrifice as well in doing so.
Now, in my eyes, not enough is done for veterans. They should
yeah,
be-
not enough.
We're all with
Definitely.
you here. I mean,
You know
that's
what I'm
why we're
saying?
here.
And that's what I hope that students can see out there.
Oh, yeah.
That
Mhm.
we wouldn't have what we have without them.
100%. 100%. I mean, you didn't go for money or anything like that, right? You went to go serve your country, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
that's the American pride right there, no? And
Mhm.
amen to it. So, Cameron,
Mr. Arger, why don't you tell us where it all started when you were serving, where you were deployed and whatnot?
First, I do want to thank Mr. Tully for
Yes.
of course, let's get
of
that
course.
out of
for
the
all
way, Mr. Tully.
as part of the EOVS team, which is the Executive Office of Veteran Services at Clear Path. It is my job to do outreach, and outreach. One of the greatest ways we found to reach veterans is to go to events like Laura White, Page Hilltop, and Ayer Shirley High School put on, and yours is one of the best run and
Thank you.
greatest ones to go to. But the towns of Ayer and Shirley both do a great job, and we definitely feel loved every time we come
Great.
to these events. So it all started, I guess. I recruited out of Western Mass. I was out of the Springfield office, and I went in. It was called a Christmas platoon. So I left for boot camp in
How old were you at this
December.
time?
I was one of the grand old mans.
Really?
So I was 22, I think, when I went in. I went in December 18th of 2002. So when you go in the week before Christmas, it's a double-edged sword. It's great because you get 8 hours off on Christmas Day, which when I say 8 hours off, it just means you're not getting yelled at for 8 hours. And then we got 8 hours off on New Year's. So the first week is complete chaos, and then at least you have a break to
Was this
kind of
during
catch
boot
your
camp,
breath.
is that what you
Yeah.
said? Yeah. Okay.
But the real reason is I hate the heat, can't stand it. So I went in when it was cold.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then I went to the School of Infantry. I graduated from that. That's where I learned how to use the mortar system, which is basically a tube that throws a grenade.
Oh, the mortar.
Yeah,
I see.
about 2,000 meters.
Yeah.
Depending on which unit you're using. Mine was a 60 millimeter, which is a hand. You can carry it around. It's handheld. Weighs about 16. Altogether probably weighs about 30 pounds.
Yeah.
But I went to the fleet. They call it. The fleet is where you're actually in 2nd Battalion, 6th Marines now.
hmm
And
It's the big leagues.
yeah, you get to, they put you in a company. So I was Echo Company and Weapons Platoon. They had just gotten back from Iraq. So now they were going to Japan for 8 months. This was like I said, this was 2002. So we were one of the last deployments that was a training deployment. So, we went to Japan, we did jungle training, we did,
Spending time in Okinawa.
I did. So the base deployment was Okinawa for 8 months.
Oh, okay.
Then we went to Fuji for 3 months,
That's cool.
and we went to do some jungle training for about 3 months as well. So I actually only spent 2 months in Okinawa, and the rest of the time was off, either doing up on Fuji or where it was cold. I did learn to snowboard on Mount Nagano right after the Olympics, so that was a little bonus
Look
going
at
on
that,
there.
yeah, Not many can say that, I guess.
No, yes, but that was an incredible deployment. So I think the Marines, and it could be, I can't speak for the other branches, but I can tell you for sure, in the Marines, they make the training harder than real life.
Mhm.
So, and they do that on purpose. Could be so that you hate being here
Yeah.
worse than you do over there, but in all seriousness, it's so that the fighting is not easier, but it's automatic.
You're more like prepared.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're playing, I'm just going to use football again. If you make
Yeah.
practice harder than the game, then you don't find yourself tired in the game. You don't find yourself needing to think about things in the game. It's automatic.
Yeah.
So physically, it was a incredibly tough deployment. We went up and down Fuji about 20 times.
It was out with all the gear, the rock.
Yeah,
on and
yeah.
everything.
So
Oh, geez,
yeah,
geez.
so I mean, it wasn't a battle load, so to speak. So it probably weighed about 50 pounds. I'd say. I had the 20-pound system.
How are your
and,
feet? Must have.
My biggest flaw, well, besides I got heat stroke and heat exhaustion a couple of times. Like I said, I hate the heat. But as far as feet goes, that was one of my biggest issues. When I went through boot camp, they were issuing a new kind of boot. They went from the black
Right, you
leather to
mentioned.
the suede, and the boots I got issued were too small.
Oh.
So I went through boot camp. About halfway through, I ended up getting stress fractures,
Oh.
and I didn't want to go. I didn't want to stop and wait for those to heal, so I just pushed through. I went through the School of Infantry with that. So
Oh, jeez.
so I did it.
Terrible.
I did a 20-mile hike with that going on, and it wasn't until I actually, 6 months later, I got to the fleet, and I was able to get boots that fit. And so because of that, my feet were always like
Oof.
dealing with different issues.
Yeah.
What motivated you to, push through all that pain?
I'm not gonna lie, when my feet were hurting and whatnot, like there are times when you're like, why am I doing this? Like, I should just quit. I should just stop and go back. But it's the same thing throughout your entire career in the military, is that you end up like being so tight with the people around you that you don't want to let them down, and you don't want to get separated from them.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if I quit and if I went to the hospital wing in boot camp, I went to the hospital wing in the School of Infantry, I would get separated from those guys and get connected to another one.
You don't
And
want to leave them.
yeah, that carries you through your entire service, so that when you're on deployment and you're like, man, this is like the worst experience of my life, you're getting through it because of the people around you. You do things that aren't considered normal or like instinctually normal because of that bond. You know, it's not.
It's like
You're-
that brotherhood, right? It's-
Yeah, like your instincts aren't to run out in the open to help somebody who's obviously, you know, in a dangerous situation, but because of
Yeah.
that bond, you're willing to do
You're
it.
going to, yeah.
And yeah, and they ingrain that in you from the beginning, from boot camp.
Yeah.
Because they do it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
your-
So speaking from those experiences and stuff, is there anything that you would like to tell us? Maybe a little more of the gritty details to try and help us and other people understand that veterans are coming back with these real, very, very real life issues because of the things that they've had to do, had to experience, had to see. And do you think you could give us, wherever you're comfortable with, maybe just a little case of what it is truthfully like?
Yeah, so I did a 3-month deployment to Afghanistan. Completely lucked out on that. We were like the reaction battalion. So if anything happened in the world, we would get sent out to help them.
I see.
We got sent over to Afghanistan for the elections when
Oh.
President Karzai was elected. We did security at at the polling booths and all that stuff. Like I said, I got lucky. Nothing really happened there. Came back, trained for 6 months. Then we went to Iraq, and that was a completely different ballgame. That was real life war.
Yeah. And was that during, pardon me if my history's wrong, the Saddam Hussein era?
So
was that around that, or-
we went over in 2005. It was the second push of Fallujah. So it was.
Oh, okay.
I think Saddam had gotten captured right before we got there. Maybe I'm
Oh,
trying
interesting. Okay.
to do my thing.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So we had just taken over, or we had taken over Fallujah. We went in, and we worked hand in hand with a lot of other different units. My job as a mortarman was to take over a checkpoint between Ramadi and Fallujah. So both were not great places to be. There was about 25 or 30 of us living we were living in a dirt house, and we had a road that had a few barriers set up to slow down the traffic. And basically that was that. Second week I was there, we were on our way out there. The 7-ton rolled over. The edge of the road gave way. I landed face first on some railroad tracks.
It was a pretty decent fall though as well.
Yeah,
right?
there was about a 12-foot decline on the side of the road. So you're up on an 8-foot truck, so you're looking at about 20-foot
feet,
drop.
yeah,
With the gear on my back. So yeah, I blacked out for a little while, came back. What they did was they put me in Fallujah Medical, got rushed there. I was there for about 2 days. Then they figured I didn't have any life-threatening injuries. I broke my nose. I have a lot of scar tissue in my knee and my hip. A week later, I was back out at the checkpoint. And so there was a lot of stuff going on. It was, especially during Ramadan, which was kind of like, it was a very active time for the enemy at that time. It was kind of like they were making a statement,
If you don't mind
and
me asking, who was the enemy? Just as a
So,
regular group,
there's-
if there is.
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
So
Go
there's
ahead.
different groups. There's ISIS, there's the Taliban,
Mhm.
Al Qaeda. They're all pretty much the same. They all have the same ideology,
Yeah.
and they kind of branch off of each other. At the time, we were dealing with. I want to say it was Al Qaeda and some little branches of that were
This is
were what we were dealing with,
this is
and
when Bin Laden was full bore at this point. Yeah.
yeah, and they they were taking advantage of the chaos in
Of course,
Iraq,
yeah.
and there was there were other outside groups. We had a very difficult time with snipers, and it was difficult for us. It was I didn't have to go on patrols. I didn't have to kick in doors. We got shot at by snipers. I remember hearing a round go by and impacting the wall beside me.
Did it ever strike someone? While you were there as well.
So nobody at the checkpoint got hit. I think we were the only checkpoint that didn't have casualties, and I don't know if it was because we were so good at what we did, or we were it's one of those things we're always going to question, because we were very harsh we worked with the Iraqi army. We were harsh on them. I shouldn't say hard. We were hard on them because they would like to let their friends through, or they would tell us somebody was okay, they can just go through.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't let that happen. This is all coming back around to the PTSD thing and whatnot. One of the things with the checkpoint is you don't know the vehicles that are coming in. Sometimes you might get a vehicle that's full of goats. You might get a vehicle that is what you're looking for is weapons, and you're looking for explosives.
Yeah.
I watched one of the other checkpoints get completely blown off the map by a dump truck. I happened to be on the roof of our building, and I saw the explosion.
Wait, how far would you say it was?
It was probably a mile, 2 miles away, and you could easily see the explosion. Now, with that being said, it's challenging because you might get a phone call. Well, I say a phone call. You might get a call on the radio saying, "We have a red Bola. Bola. Be on the lookout for a red pickup truck with the license plate 321." Now, when you see that truck coming, what do? You have about 3 seconds to decide: am I going to stop this vehicle, or am I going to end this vehicle? And we had to shoot the tires out on one truck, and it was probably the most difficult thing I ever had to tell my wife. I only told her about 10 years ago. She asked me, what was going on? Why was I having so many nightmares and whatnot? And I wasn't prepared, but I told her about that incident because a gentleman got out of the vehicle and he was holding his insides in his hands, and he asked me why I shot him. How do you prepare yourself for that situation? You can't. And 6 months later, a different truck tried to come through. The Iraqi army wouldn't tell the people to get out. I went down there, ready to cause a scene, and told him to jump out. It's the same guy. And so,
Same guy with the intestines?
yes,
as well?
he was stitched up, a lot of scarring. Again, those are the kind of things that people don't really prepare you for. It's that unpredictability. Unfortunately, what happened. There was other times where I had to shoot up another vehicle. Luckily there was no explosives in it, because I remember looking through my scope, seeing an old man. Now, if he's not stopping, do I know if he's a threat or is he just
And how could you?
yeah?
Like you said,
So
3
Could never
seconds
know.
to decide how many.
yeah, luckily, I shot the tires out. I shot the engine out, and he crashed into a berm, and there was no, there was no explosion.
But how could you even?
Yeah, and
How
I
could you
always
get
second
that
guess
call?
that because he ended up getting too close, so that if he had explosives in the vehicle, myself and others would have been injured. And that is one of the things that a lot of veterans deal with is second guessing. I don't think any veteran who gets out who has been into combat is going to say, I did everything right, especially if people were hurt or killed.
It's always unpredictable.
Yeah, there's always going to be that maybe I could have done this different
Mhm.
kind of thing. And those experiences are horrible and I hate them, but I can use those to comfort other veterans as well.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's and it helped me build strength so that I can deal with those things that come up.
Mhm. And to end this, one final question. I'm sure everyone wants to hear it, and you mentioned it beforehand.
I have one question after, but you take it.
I mean, have you ever had to take a life in the line of duty? Of course.
So I cannot, I can say that I have never witnessed somebody get killed. I've never shot somebody and seen them pass away.
Mhm.
I've been in support with the mortar system.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm lucky I can say that I've never had to
Directly
take somebody's
Yeah.
life.
Well, I have to ask you one question. If you had a chance to talk or tell something to your 20-year-old self, what would you ask them and why?
If you had to tell, yeah.
I think that's a tough question, and I don't know if it's one that can be answered because there's part of me that says you should have stayed in. There's part of me that says I love the life I have and the family that I have,
Mhm.
and there's no way to tell if that would have been different. So if I had stayed in. Yeah, that's such a tricky question. I would say maybe take a few more chances than I did, because there's definitely things that I look back on and I say, I wish I had done a little bit more, or I wish I had, just tried out for this or that, or being at the checkpoint, you feel. I did feel like there was a separation from the rest of my unit. Like there was I'm not as connected to the guys that were out doing patrol
I mean,
as
to be
everyone
fair,
else.
You mean you come back at the end of the night, you're not gonna know who's there and who's not. I mean, that's I can't imagine that. As you were saying, keep going.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one of the things that
Yeah.
that does irk me a little bit. I wish I
With being
had
separate.
gone in to
Yeah.
work with the rest of the guys,
Mhm.
so that I could at least feel.
Familiarity as well.
Yeah.
How would you like the program to be once you retire? This is to both of you.
Okay, it's a leadership program. I like to have the students and the school still continue with the veterans program, still implementing the core values of LDRSHIP, the loyalty, the duty, the respect, the selfless service, the integrity, the honor, the integrity, and the personal courage. All those, all linked into one, and have them be able to live their lives here at the school and continue with their programs that they have outside of the leadership program, and to continue to have the veterans program every year, because I think it's a very important program to have to continue on with.
Yeah.
I agree.
I also would like to say my grandfather, he was a veteran in Vietnam. He served as a radio operator right before 1967, around that time period.
Mhm.
And I can definitely say some of my best memories with him was during those Veterans Day,
I feel like I remember that. Yeah, when you were
Yeah.
younger, he used to bring your. Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He was a good guy. I remember meeting him.
yeah, it was some of the best memories I've had, and I
Amazing,
feel
man.
like, you doing this and like showing appreciation to these great people who have like sacrificed so much,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
I feel like it really gives an impact on like new generations, and and it educates people a lot.
Thank you for
100%.
saying that.
Mhm.
100%. And got that familial tie there. I mean, there's a possibility I wouldn't even be here right now. My great grandfather stormed the beaches of Normandy. He was an infantryman, one of the first to land. So it's a miracle he survived. And I mean, look where it brought us here. Your veteran ties, my veteran ties. Cam just being a good person and want to help out.
Mhm.
You know how it is. You know how it is. We're all here for one thing, and that's for veterans.
Exactly.
Did you want to ask Mr. Ogden?
Yeah, I would like to know from.
Yeah, so I love ClearPath for Veterans New England. I love everything they do, and we've been growing, and I just want to see them continue to grow. I think they will. And some of the programs that I didn't mention before that have been really impactful and will continue to do so are the Women's Wellness Program. They have an event every month that they were helping the Special Olympics last month. Yeah, they might go do archery. They might do a million different things that are there to empower women to, I should start at the beginning where there was a time when women in the military didn't have a strong voice, and they, some of that is based on the percentage. Some of it is society, and whatnot. We're trying to give them back that voice and that camaraderie, and the camaraderie that they feel in the women's wellness group is huge, and it's incredible. We also do a flag building workshop where 4 veterans can go hang out and build a wooden flag out in Templeton, and working with your hands and telling stories with other veterans. It's incredible what you hear, and it's incredible to see the growth that people can have in a day doing that.
Would you say it's healing in its own way, kind of?
It is. It's very.
It's cathartic.
It is. It's very healing. Without giving away any, I got to be aware of HIPAA, but I can tell you that we've had veterans come through that needed assistance, and I can remember the times when the caregiver would say, "Oh, he or she can't do that. I need to do it for them." No, we're not going to allow that. We're going to allow the veteran to try. And more times than not, like when you glue the stars on, more times than not, the veteran can do a lot more than what the caregiver thinks. And that's growth. That is giving the veteran back some power and some control, and it's awesome. It's an incredible experience. We also have programs. SSVF helps homeless veterans, helps veterans that are in arrears. Same thing with EOVS, and I hope that those just continue to grow so that we can help more homeless veterans. That we can, so that we can help veterans get off the street. And what you were talking about with your grandfather, you said it was your grandfather, right?
Yeah, that was
Sorry, I couldn't remember if it was your father or your grandfather. So we do social events, and we do, we'll do events where it's a meal, or we'll do events where it's indoor golf, or it's, bowling or pool. And that's getting not just veterans together, but bring your family together, bring your family out. We help veterans and families. And we enjoy giving people that chance to create those memories, because I'm sure your grandfather, it was one of the best experiences he's had was spending that time with you as well.
Yeah, it's just like what was said before with Mr. Tully. Like the fact that people were saying thank you was like, at least to him, I think was like really, really like impactful because like, especially to World War no, sorry, especially to veterans from Vietnam, they were kind of like shunned
Yeah.
for
Treated
their
horribly.
service in that.
Oh,
It
yeah.
shouldn't have.
And I remember my mom
All
said
the
that
lives.
Vietnam was actually seen more as like more as a mission rather than an actual war. So it was a way to like take away the veterans or the label of veteran, from what I've heard.
Yeah, it was. Our biggest age group is Vietnam veterans right now, and so we know a lot about what they went through and experienced. My father was a medic in Vietnam, so I know a lot about what he experienced, and what they were fighting a battle when they came home as well. So it. I think society right now, and I think it was since the Iraq and Afghanistan, Operation Enduring Freedom. I think there was a shift where it gave the Vietnam veterans a chance to show people how you're supposed to react when veterans come back.
Yeah.
And I think society is now trying to make up for the mistakes we made when they came back from Vietnam. And for the most part, I think we're doing a pretty good job of it. I think a lot of the Vietnam veterans are starting to feel welcome again. They're starting to appreciate the people saying we're sorry for what happened to you and what other people did.
Because usually what happens is that most of those soldiers are the scapegoats of those conflicts. Like they're treated as like the reason why.
Yeah.
Even though that's not really the case. It's just how it's handled from,
Exactly.
behind the scenes.
And at the root, it's
Yeah.
following orders. And
Yeah.
that's it. At the end of the
Real
day.
story, real quick. My dad and other people like him were the first ones to say that they used to say the Korean conflict, the Vietnam conflict, it wasn't a war that was
War, yeah.
voted on by Congress, right? He says if people are getting shot at, that's a war. He would say
Yeah.
straight out, that's a war.
Yeah.
He would always say that all the time. He and his friends would always say that all the time. Anytime that you're in harm's way and that you're doing that, he says that's a war. And that I think that helped a lot of people too. That hearing that helped a lot of people to understand that. Real quick, the reason why I'm wearing green today, we were supposed to have our program on St. Patrick's Day, and we didn't because of the power outage that we had here in Air in Shirley that day. And the week before that was supposed to have it because we had a storm that day. We couldn't stay here. So this is great that we're able to do this.
National Grid, we're calling you out. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. So this is great that we were able to have this here today. It just goes to show you the consistency and the discipline that we have, that we wanted to have this program go on. And I really appreciate APAC doing this. Everybody in the control booth there, and you guys here, and Mr. Auger as well from ClearPath. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Well, on that note, I would like to say a little something. What we've kind of encompassed in this episode is, well, if you need help, get help. There's not one reason why you shouldn't. And with a broad spectrum of things, not just veterans. If you're a veteran, if you're seeing this, if you know any veterans that need help, anyone that wants to help other veterans, ClearPath New England, Mr. Billy Auger here, I'm sure he'll treat you perfectly. And thank you very much for coming on our show and giving us your time and your experiences, your stories. And, I can't imagine it's easy to relive those memories even after 20 years all the time. But, I mean, hey, you're here. And you've used that in such good ways that, I don't know, that I hope to live up to one day. So thank you very much, Mr. Auger. Thank you very much, Mr. Tully. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the Side Talk Show. I'm your host, Cole Hillman, and my co-host, Cameron Reisel, Dimitri Simeon, signing off. Thank you.